Hello, welcome to the Astrology and Spirituality show for Friday, the 4th of December with Elisa and Patrick Arundel. The moon today is in Cancer, but it's moving towards the end of Cancer. So it starts today in opposition with Pluto, then goes into opposition with Jupiter and ends the day in opposition with Saturn. To be honest, I think this can create quite a lot of heightened emotions. If we think the moon in Cancer is about really feeling secure and safe, we have those more thrust in and more political planets in the guise of Pluto and Saturn, which are confronting the emotional reality that, if you like, the security that the moon wants to bring to us. So I think we could encounter someone who's a bit forceful, difficult, creates conditions that we find challenging. It may be some kind of power battle. It could be someone tries to be a bit dominating or cuts off in some way. Some kind of energy around control could be possible around some close relationships today, and perhaps even around some more business ones as well. Elisa, what do the cards suggest for us today?
Well, we're using the angel therapy cards today, so I think hopefully will give us some spiritual message on how we can work with that energy. So the word on this card, this is really interesting. It says mediumship here, and it says you have a natural ability to connect with departed loved ones. I also feel with this card, it's saying basically that our psychic intuition is heightened today. So it may even be that someone doesn't outright say something to us that is nasty, but we're picking up on the vibe of that. And sometimes that can be even worse because it's harder to confront something that hasn't even been said.
And people will automatically deny it.
Yeah.
I didn't. What do you mean?
Yeah. And maybe they aren't even conscious of how they're feeling as well. So I think it calls for us to be a little bit just aware that we might have heightened sensitivities today on picking up other people's thoughts. You know, that sometimes happens with me when people say one thing, but then you can almost hear in their mind what they're actually thinking, and then you're like, oh, that wasn't very nice. But then you can't say anything to them because they didn't say it.
I think when you have got a very sort of heightened sensitivity, like we both have, it doesn't matter what people say to you. You can just walk down the street and pick up all the vibes.
Yeah.
And it's very, very difficult to actually keep yourself safe. So if you're an empath, a light worker, a healer, you know, you work in this field yourself, I know exactly where I'm coming from, that it's important to keep up some kind of barriers. I mean, sometimes when we go for a drink, we're in England, we love the pub. They're obviously not as freely open as at the moment, and other forms of entertainment are available, and other channels, and other brands. But sometimes when you walk into a place, you can feel the joyfulness, but very often people can be drinking to escape issues. So you can also feel the heaviness, the sadness, the anger, the bitterness. So for us, it's important to be quite protective because it can feed into our sense of reality really quite quickly.
Yeah, and it is about just knowing that before you go out or you go to anywhere where there are going to be, more people or more energies, that we just sort of have the intention, before we get there, that we're going to look after our own space. And intention is so much of dealing with these things, because if we set those intentions, it means that throughout the experience of being there, we're always reminding ourselves that actually, no, I need to look after my own energy.
But also that means we're modifying our expectations as we go along.
Yeah,
and definitely. I think today, I can honestly say, Pluto and Saturn, as you know, this year have been so powerful, along with Jupiter in Capricorn. So it's almost like a mini repeat of the eclipse series that we've had over the last 2.5, 3 years, which have caused so much mischief. Now, obviously, we've now moved into a Gemini Sagittarius axis, which is really exciting, I feel. It's not necessarily going to be a panacea for all the world's issues, but I think some of the stuff we've encountered over the last few years is going to come up again. This kind of consumption against security, whether it's physical, to do with the environment, to do with people just being very focused on spending money as the way to create happiness, which it doesn't, I don't believe. It's good to have enough money to pay the bills. If you don't, that's really miserable and really challenging. So some kind of power dynamic can come up in a close relationship or a professional one, because remember, the sign of Capricorn is very much about worldly interaction, status, jobs and so on. Or it could be someone who's much more used to being a traditional player. They want it done the way it's always done, sticklers. And you may be more emotionally fluid and growing and evolving, so you could feel their pushback today. So I think if we brace ourselves for this and don't set our hopes too high, like Elisa, so we can set our intentions to protect ourselves, then that can be a good way to get through today.
Brilliant. Be brave today.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And if you would like to read your written daily horoscope, you can do so in the description box beneath this video.
Thank you so much, Elisa. And for now, from the A-Team, it is...
Goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from us. Goodbye.